Hey, welcome to GoCast, a podcast of cybersecurity, about 15 minutes. So today we're hosting Chris Patteson. He is the founder and the organizer of BSides NOLA. He is also managing director of Catalent Pharma Solutions. Enjoy the GoCast. Hey, Chris, good morning. Welcome to GoCast.
Hello, how are you? I'm excited to be here.
Well, it's a great pleasure to host you today. Can we start by having a small introduction of who you are, what you do, where you're from, what you like, what you don't like?
Sure. I currently live down here in New Orleans. We're just getting past Mardi Gras, so into conference season. Been in the cybersecurity space since about 2007, 2008, really initially focused in GRC, but moved over into forensics and some of that for a little bit. I was unfortunate enough to have to suffer through both WannaCry and Patteson, so those were learning events, but at the same time, it helped me kind of adjust my outlook into resilience and what it takes for organizations to survive something that massive. Left FedEx and then moved into working in the sales arena. So spent a lot of time out in the community globally, working with other governance, risk, and compliance leaders with their programs and helping them to scale that out. Most recently, just joined Catalent Pharmaceutical Manufacturing, their director of GRC, and helping kind of revamp their program and continue to improve on it.
Wow, that's impressive. 2007, 2008, you said that you moved to cybersecurity. What changed from where you were to cyber?
So I was in corporate strategy at that point, and just there was such a need for folks that had a mix of technical background. Strategic planning, I think, is something that a lot of security leaders that grew up kind of on the tech side do struggle with. So how do you take something that's in the current state? How do you plan for your future state and what your security posture needs to look like? And then always presenting that to the business. This is where I spent a lot of time over the past 4 or 5 years, is quantifying that risk in real dollars, right? So you can go take that discussion to other leaders in the organization, because that's what they talk, right? They talk in terms of budgets and forecasts and things in real dollars. So you have to start looking at value at risk. These are things we can learn from our friends in the insurance side. I did work in the cyber insurance arena for a little less than a year at one point, so picked up a lot of information around that. But that's really the key and the core, is to help the business really understand the impacts and then work with them on improving that posture.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I've been in cyber for 20 years now, and I've seen the cyber, what is this? And it used to be called information security. At the time, it was not cybersecurity. And the C-level, the board of director, never heard of cyber. And now I think it's number 1, number 2, or number 3 max as a risk, as you mentioned. So we've seen a lot of evolution.
It's still out there. Somebody just the other day said they ran into someone that had leadership say, is this still a thing, right? So there is still a little bit of the lack of understanding of the actual risk and impact in organization.
Of course, you're right. And it's moving so fast, adding the AI, adding the sophistication, nation state attack. There's so much out there that is building into that conversation that brings confusion and much more here. So I was going to ask the KPI has been evolving, and you mentioned that it's something that you're able to translate from the technical to, from your expertise. What hit home the best, I'd say, in terms of conversation when talking with those exec or board or C-level, as per se?
Yeah, so typically when I bring something like that in front of security leadership, this is work you can pick up if you're familiar with the FAIR framework, including some of Richard Saracen and Doug Hubbard's work on how to quantify anything in cybersecurity risk. And it really is to take these things into actual scenarios, right? So when you can start talking about, how long can we expect or how long can we survive being down, and at what rate are we starting to lose revenue if operations aren't working? So then you can start to wrap, if we put in these mitigations, this is where we can actually improve that from a recovery time. This is how we can actually reduce that risk. And it really is the gap between, where your cyber insurance policy sits as your actual ability to cover an event. And then the gap is, how do I reduce that potential through adding additional countermeasures and reducing the risk overall, the value at risk. So it's a great way to have that discussion with corporate risk officers, the folks that are doing the insurance for your organization. I tell security leaders, don't just fill out the insurance questionnaire and send it over there. Make sure you see that policy when it comes back. What did the coverage actually come out as? what are your deductibles, and having to understand that, because it is all, again, financial risk. And just when you start to do that, you've got an ally with the CRO and the CFO from that perspective.
Yeah, no, absolutely agreed. And that questionnaire has been evolving a lot by the time also. And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because we've seen clients filling those forms and yet they don't always know what they're checking, yes or no. You can have from a SIM to a couple of other tools that are very expensive that they think they have, but mostly don't have, right? So
Yeah, it's important from two aspects. Be truthful and honest around it, but then also try to get the insurance organization as much information as you can, because that is impacting your premiums and what you're paying out in a premium. It's impacting what your limits are, and things along that line. And also, I always tell folks to go in and look and double check the subjectives. There are a lot of things buried inside of these policies that you have to make sure remain in place, for your policy to actually be honored. And that's why I urge cybersecurity leaders, once that's completed and that process is through, you need to put that in there. And in some cases, I've said, even put that in your risk register, because if you fail to do one of those things, and that policy is null and void, then your coverage is out. So that's the other part of, maintaining that holistic view of my risk transfer program from my cyber insurance perspective, but also the countermeasures and preventative things that I typically put in place. There's a balance there, and it needs to be maintained.
yeah, no, absolutely. And let's shift to another topic. I think you're involved a lot in the community in your region. Is it BSide, I think, that you're organizing? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so for the folks that aren't familiar with BSides, it started many years ago as an offshoot of Black Hat, actually. Just a few folks were saying, hey, these are great talks. Let's get together and review them. And so where it was just a few folks in a house reviewing these presentations and enjoying that, because they just couldn't get on the main stage and
I
get
think it was
in.
RSA at the time, Chris,
Yeah,
with Jack
I believe.
Daniels and
Yeah,
the
Jack
Chris
Daniels, but it
Roberts.
was actually Vegas. It was Vegas is where it started, and
It
Jack
was,
actually came down and spoke for us when we rebooted the program here. But now it's global, in hundreds of communities. The B-Sides New Orleans, post COVID, it kind of slowed down a little bit. We worked with the previous leaders to get that transferred over. So Najo Ifield, myself, and Brandon Brown rebooted it in 2023. New Orleans as a location is great, just because of the culture and everything we have down here. There's a latent tech community. A lot of folks work remote, so you may not see a lot of big companies, but as you start to talk to folks, it's like, oh, well, you work for this large contractor, or you actually, support this large Fortune 500. So
yeah.
we do have a thriving community down here. And this year we're actually back in partnership with NOLACon, which is kind of the DEF CON version
Oh,
here
great.
in New Orleans. That's later in the week, something the two had been in the same week for quite some time, and we were able to get that aligned again this year. So it's May 13th. We still have call for papers is open. So if you have a talk you want to try out, we do, like, back to your point on community, great place for students or team members that are working on their presentation skills to maybe get their first presentation out. So we try to keep a mix of that with some of the newer folks in the community coming up with some of the seasoned veterans. And so B-Sides really is that more community driven conference, and great for networking and just getting out and understanding the folks that are here. But being a destination city, we got a lot of great speakers that come in from out of town. So a great way to kind of bring some of that knowledge into the city as well.
Oh, I must admit, it's amazing the work you're doing. B-Side is an amazing event, and you're carrying that franchise over the New Orleans. It's awesome. You said it's in May, right? And the call for speakers is still open. How many people are you expecting this year?
Typically, we've been getting between 150 and 200, so it's sizable. We have 3 tracks going. One we typically try to make a little bit more technical based, and then one more business focused, and we're actually focusing on trying to bring also an operational technology or an industrial control security tracks. Depending on the papers we get in and the talks we have to draw from, we're going to break it back into that 3-track section. So there's something for everybody that shows up to the event. This year it's going to be at Caesars Harris Hotel. They're redoing, the new hotel is going up. Caesars has been kind enough to host us and make it easier on us. So we've got some room blocks. It's all on the NOLA B-Sides website at nolabsides.com. Also, a link on my LinkedIn profile if anyone wants to find it that way.
Yeah, we'll make sure we share that also in the post. So, well, it's the time we had, Chris. It's a real pleasure to have you on the GoCast. And I hope that we will meet in person, either at B-Side or any other large event of the community. And thank you very much for your time, and have a great day.
Love to have you guys down. See you soon.
Take care.
Cheers.